Hello and welcome to Cancer season. If you're just tuning in for the first time to Embodied Astrology, my name is Renee. Welcome back to all my longtime listeners. I'm so happy to be here with you. Your Cancer season horoscopes are coming right up, but first I need to tell you a couple of things. 1, I have recorded horoscopes for Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra seasons all together in the last week. They're going to be edited, so you'll be getting your readings as the seasons start, but I need you to know this for 2 reasons. 1, you're going to see me looking pretty much the same for the next few months. And also, I'll be expanding on some themes that are continuous across this stretch of time, which is basically from the end of June until the end of October in 2025. Also, I want to tell you that I did this because of what I see upcoming in this year's astrology. Surprise, surprise. It is a lot of change, and I wanted to create some more space for myself to get out of my comfort zone and business as usual so that I can be more responsive to some of the changes that are happening in my life, including here at Embodied Astrology. I also wanted to tell you this because it's a great time for any of us to get out of our comfort zones and business as usual. So if you've been feeling a bit restless lately, or like you're anticipating something, or maybe just that you need a change, please, 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 my friends, schedule ahead and plan to disrupt your own rhythms so that you can be available and actively participate more generously with the changes that are trying to happen, especially in the next 4 months. On that note, I have done my best to outline what I see happening in the next months and years astrologically, and I'm including a bonus reading for the collective in Cancer season in this season's offerings. This is about a 20-minute listen, and you can find it linked in the show notes or wherever you found this reading. Please listen to it. There are some messages I really want to share with you. And finally, as I mentioned a moment ago, and as you'll hear me talk about in the bonus reading, there are some changes upcoming at Embodied Astrology. Now, if you've followed my work for a while, you know that I am not here to be a brand. I'm not trying to dominate the astrology sphere or convince anyone that I have all the answers that you need. In fact, Embodied Astrology is a project that is increasingly committed to democratizing astrology and engaging with it as an emergent strategy that anyone can access as a lens for mapping time, revealing complexities, and helping us understand how we got here, what we're doing, and what the deeper potentials are in any given situation or relationship. As the challenges of living together on planet Earth intensify, human beings need truly non-binary languages that can help us bridge the gaps between our own biases and experiences. The synthesis of embodiment practice and astrological thinking is one way we can create this kind of language. At EA, this is what we're investing in. We're putting our resources towards designing and maintaining study groups where people come together to work together. We're actively fostering co-leadership and co-authorship and creating spaces where astrology can expand its potentials through application with other modalities such as conflict transformation, design thinking, urban planning, psychotherapy, and more. Everything we offer is always offered with flexible pricing and sliding scales. Unless capacity is limited, no one is ever turned away for lack of funds. And we consistently redistribute at minimum 10% of our net profits to Indigenous-led environmental protection projects and mutual aid for under-resourced communities. So this brings me to a request, which is this. If you have ever benefited from our work, if you enjoy my monthly readings, if you attend our events, or think you want to someday, please help us to continue to grow and expand our work. In the next 6 to 12 months, my personal goal is to start funding an emergent astrologer space, where the work of a diverse group of astrologically oriented practitioners from many different backgrounds can research and produce writing, art, education, and other kinds of content that is specifically focused on meeting the practical, spiritual, and relational needs of right now. I know that times are tough and budgets are tight, but if every one of our listeners donated $1 a month, we would meet 100% of our operating costs, and we'd be able to not only keep creating monthly horoscopes and regular podcasts for free and offering all of our classes and workshops at sliding scale, but we'd also be able to do so much more. As if this wasn't already an exchange, we are working on a special membership for donors of all amounts, but things like that also cost money to map out and administer, and our team is small and our resources are limited. One thing I can say is that within the next few months, we will be rolling out an ad-free content space. And for the time being, in order to support the work we're trying to grow, we are turning on ads on all of our distribution channels. I know it's annoying. I also know you know how to fast forward. But please know that we're only using them so that we can stay here. If you appreciate this work, please support it. You can sign up for a recurring donation or a one-time donation of any amount in the show notes below. You can also support our work so much by sharing it with your friends and networks and helping boost us on the algorithms by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Another great way to support this work is to purchase our products like the 2025 year ahead readings for your sun, moon, and rising signs, which are all discounted now by 25% because we're halfway through the year. And finally, one of the best ways to support us is to attend our events because most of what we do actually isn't streamed on a podcast. You can find me every Monday in my weekly virtual class on Zoom, Somatic Space, where I offer week ahead astrology forecasts and gentle adaptive movement, meditation, and visualization practices to help us make the most of the current transits. If you become a Somatic Space member, you'll also get access to our twice monthly chart reading study groups, led by my colleague Alisha Mawji, where you can learn more about your chart and astrology through conversation and connections with wonderful people who just might become wonderful friends. We also have regular workshops and events, such as what I'm calling our upcoming reunion tour, with 3 facilitators who have been enormous parts of making embodied astrology what it is: Junata Petrus, Ramon Gabrieloff-Parrish, and Sherry Taylor. Junata is a Cancerian, and she's up first for a very special Cancer season offering of soul sweetening. We'll be leading together and taking turns offering prompts to embody, contemplate, and create with Cancerian energetics and practices we've each cultivated to support us personally through big feelings, trying times, when bonds feel tender, and when uncertainties abound. If this sounds like something you want and need, it's here for you, live or recorded. No one turned away for lack of funds. Okay, thanks for hanging in with me and listening to all of this. You can find more information about everything I just mentioned in the show notes. Please find my reading for the collective for an important general message for Cancer season. And now, onto your horoscopes. Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Cancer season. As you probably know, Cancer is your opposite sign, and this is the time of year when the emphasis goes towards other people. Not to say that throughout the year there might not be focus in the realm of relationships, but when there is movement in the sign Cancer, this brings extra attention into the realms of your most important relationships. And this can include the relationship that you have with yourself and the relationship that you have to relationships in general. The ways that you imagine that they should be, what you project onto them as concepts and ideas, also the ways that you engage with other people in general, kind of the ways that you put yourself out. And the place that Cancer holds in your chart is also a place that has a lot to do with contracts and agreements. And very frequently we make contracts and agreements with people without even thinking about it. They might be subtle and implicit and energetic. And we may also be making contracts and agreements based on previous experiences or understandings of ourselves or the nature of relationships. And it is time for an update. So the planet Jupiter recently moved into the sign Cancer, and Jupiter will be here for a solid year from June 2025 until June 2026. I definitely talked to you about this in your horoscope for Gemini season. I'm going to talk to you about it more now. I invite you to reflect back to 12 years ago. 2013, 2014 was the last time that Jupiter was in Cancer. And over the course of the last 12 years, you have experienced very important phases of growth and learning in the realms of your relationships. And again, relationships include your relationship with yourself, your projected ideas and concepts of relationships, and the actual people that you are relating with. Now, in these last 12 years, you have grown a lot. You are not the same person that you were 12 years ago. And something very special is happening for you now that I don't think was happening for you 12 years ago. And what feels so special about what's happening now is the amount of stuff that you have been through and processed, and what that means for your sense of personal power and sovereignty, and the way that I'm just going to say you know yourself. You know yourself now in a way that you definitely did not 12 years ago. You know certain things about your value systems, your wants, your needs, your non-negotiables that you definitely did not know or did not know as deeply 12 years ago. And as we move into Cancer season in 2025, there is a fair amount of, I'm going to say, dynamic tension. And for some of you, this could feel wildly exciting and creative and full of possibilities. And for some of you, this could feel quite challenging. But this particular kind of tension has to do with the potential of your relationships and the ways you want them to grow and what you want out of them. And what I'm going to say is the reality, the concrete reality of how you know yourself now, and in particular, some foundational needs that you have. Now, Capricorn is a sign that is known for dedication and commitment and loyalty. And often Capricorn is conceived of as a very family-oriented sign, and one that will really stay the course when it comes to relationships of many kind, but especially important partnerships. Now, this definitely may be true for you, but regardless of what kind of Capricorn you are, if you feel yourself as a very steady, committed type of Capricorn, or maybe you feel yourself as a little more free and easy sometimes, I feel that right now you have a sense of who you are and who you need to be, that you are not willing to change for other people. And in the past, you may have been willing. You may have actually been ready and eager to change yourself for other people. You may have really done a lot of contortions and gymnastics and fantasy games and masking and really sincere trying to meet other people where they were or what their needs were, or what you thought they wanted or something like that. That is not the case right now, Capricorn. You are not trying to be anything for anybody other than yourself. You are trying to impress yourself. You are most invested in making yourself happy right now. And if other people can meet you there, fabulous. If they cannot, well, you're a Capricorn, so you know it's their loss, right? The feeling is that you are also needing to grow in relationships right now. You are also needing to extend yourself and expand yourself and open to some new opportunities and possibilities. And this might require some shifting and adaptation on your part. You may actually need to change a little bit. So the tension as we move into Cancer season is this tension between the ways that you know yourself, the ways that you are done with apologizing, with trying to shift yourself for anybody or anything, and the ways that your relationships are asking you to grow, asking you to open to new possibilities, and maybe consider some changes. Now, I want to say, Capricorn, that these two needs do not need to be antithetical, and your work right now is to maintain honesty as you also open yourself to the reflections that other people give you. Our relationships are such important spaces of growth and transformation, and we can learn so much about ourselves by the feelings that come up in response to others. And this is a season that might bring up some big feelings for you. There might be other people's feelings also that you are trying to navigate. But ultimately, I feel that there is a lot of expansion, opportunity, and possibility in the realms of your relationships. And that part of your work right now is to maintain a very grounded sense of your own sovereignty, your own sense of power, as you also open to the possibility of what relationships ask of you. And allow yourself to contemplate what changes, what growth, what opportunities they are presenting. Now, the 5 days or so leading up to Cancer season, and then the first week or so of Cancer season, this tension is the most acute. And I would invite some of you to contemplate back to 2020 when an important cycle began that is now at a turning point. And you might be familiar with the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction cycle. The most recent conjunction was in 2020, and in 2025, they have reached their first quarter square. Now, this cycle for you is ultimately about increasing your sense of stability and really feeling resourced. Now, feeling resourced can manifest in all different kinds of ways. Obviously, material resources are some kinds of resources, but some people are wildly wealthy and still feel completely empty and lacking. And material resources are not the only ways that we get our needs met. And for you right now, I'm going to say that home and family and relationships and bonds are at least as important as money and possessions. And you, I think, are recognizing the need to have spaces where you can be yourself with other people, where you can allow yourself to be honest and pursue your desires and have your own limitations, your boundaries, the reality of you, and also feel accepted, feel seen, feel witnessed, feel supported. Now, in order for you to get that and to do that, Capricorn requires some vulnerability on your part. So good thing that Mercury retrograde is coming into your solar 8th house starting on June 26th. This is the day after the new moon in Cancer. The new moon in Cancer is conjunct Jupiter. It is 1 day after, the new moon is 1 day after the Sun-Jupiter conjunction. And this is a really powerful time for you to orient your intentions towards new growth opportunities in your relationships. So new moon, set your sights, do your rituals, say your prayers about what you are calling in and wanting to experience in the coming year when it comes to relationships and especially committed partnerships. And then 2 days after, on the 26th, get ready because Mercury is moving into Leo and it's going to be there for quite a while because it will be retrograding. So Mercury enters Leo on June 29th. On June 26th, and then on June 29th, it begins what's called its shadow phase. The shadow phase is when Mercury is moving over terrain that it will retrograde back to, and the shadow is between June 29th and July 18th, which is the day that Mercury stations retrograde. Mercury will be retrograde from July 18th until August 11th, and the shadow will continue from there until August 25th. So there are about 2 months of this Mercury retrograde process in the sign Leo. Now, Leo rules your solar 8th house, and the 8th house is a place that can be really hard to see. Oftentimes, this is energy that we hide from others and from ourselves. There can be issues of vulnerability and insecurity and baggage and trauma that show up in this part of our chart. This is also a part of our chart where magic happens and alchemical transformation occurs when we allow ourselves to confront what feels scary and challenging and unknown. Leo, as an energetic archetype, is an archetype of heartfelt authenticity. Now, Capricorn, your sign is called dignified for a reason because heartfelt authenticity sometimes is messy. Sometimes it's just out there. Sometimes it is unplanned and spontaneous. It is not always responsible. It is not always put together. It can get us into trouble sometimes. And Capricorns are not always so comfortable with this. Now, you might be a Capricorn that just has a ton of fire in your chart and you're totally comfortable with it. And, feel free to disagree. Not everything is for everyone, but many Capricorns keep their cards somewhat close to their chest. And this transit is asking you to let yourself be seen a little bit more. It is asking you to speak to your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, to speak to what feels like it's underneath the surface. So if things have been going on with important relationships in your life and it has felt hard to talk about it, or if it feels like there's a lot there that needs to get unpacked, this is definitely a time that might be asking for some of that kind of process. Now, some of you are growing in really big ways in your relationships right now. Some of you are thinking about cohabitation. This could be with partners, with friends, with family. Some of you are thinking about not cohabiting anymore with your partners, with your friends, with your family. It feels like there's some important shifts that are happening for Capricorn, again, when it comes to the realms of relationships and also foundation. And so Mercury's transit and retrograde through Leo can also help you sort out the stuff that's shared. Now, the shared stuff with you and other people includes all kinds of things. It definitely includes content, right? So the stuff that's hard to talk about, everything I just said, right? Stuff that might be kind of simmering underneath the surface and needs to get addressed. Shared finances, shared resources, shared goals, shared space. If you're in sexual relationships with people, shared intimacy, shared bodily fluids, shared energy, etc. This is also a place in your chart that definitely deals with the kinds of situations where resource can flow from one person to another. And so themes of debts and inheritances can be important here as well. Some of you may be in experiences that are bringing you into some kind of, I'm going to say like an inheritance. Now, an inheritance can also be a debt. You can be inheriting somebody else's unfinished business, or you can be inheriting gifts from them. I certainly hope that it's the latter, not the former for you. But whatever it is that is coming in for you at this time, it feels like it needs a lot of your attention. It feels like it is asking for conversations, and it's feeling like it is really strongly oriented towards the dynamics of important relationships. So please take this opportunity to have the kinds of conversations that feel hard to have, to talk about the things that are not always the easiest to talk about. Definitely, if there are things coming up around shared resources, you want to be paying attention to them right now. And also, you have some time. This is a 2-month process, and so you may be just starting to get a sense that you have to address some of these themes, but you can wait, and some of you might be waiting until Leo season, until the retrograde is at its thickest, to really get into this stuff. But if you're starting to notice it, it's definitely a good time to begin reflecting on it. And this can help you when the actual process is ready to happen. If you've spent some time journaling, talking with trusted friends and allies, working it out with your therapist, doing any kind of divination, work with your own astrology, tarot, etc., that could all be really helpful for you in what's to come. Now, as we move into the month of July, there is a lot that's happening in the realms of the outer planets. Importantly, your ruling planet Saturn is stationing retrograde on July 12th. Saturn is currently transiting very close to the planet Neptune in the sign Aries. This is your fellow cardinal sign. Aries holds the basin or the root of your chart, the ground of your chart. And as Saturn stations retrograde, Neptune has already stationed retrograde on July 4th. So between the 4th and the 12th, both of them are reversing course. They are both going to move out of Aries and back into Pisces later this year. And they'll each have one more visit to Pisces, where they have been for many years. Saturn has been there for the last 3 years or so. Neptune for the last, how long has it been now? Since 2011? 14 years or so. That's a chunk of time. So they'll each have one more visit to Pisces, and then next year they'll come back into Aries for the duration of their transits here. For Saturn, that will be another 3 years until 2028. And for Neptune, that will take us all the way until 2038. So reflect on this year so far. Saturn and Neptune have only just recently entered this sign, and I think that they are bringing some kind of new energy into this realm of foundation, home, and family. These are the significations of your solar fourth house. On an energetic level, this has to do with your own sense of anchoring and belonging. You might think about the proverbial ground underneath your feet. There are major themes of ancestry and lineage here as well. And so this might give some connection to what I was just talking about with debts and inheritances. Some of you are experiencing, I would imagine, aging parents or grandparents. There may be transitions in familial dynamics. And again, some of you may be working something out when it comes to cohabitation. And this transit has brought some new kind of energy in the last couple of months. As you reflect back on just the last months in 2025, you can even just think back till February or March, reflect on the ways that you have initiated new things, new projects, new experiences, new relationships. What have you learned? What have the consequences of those initiatory impulses been? What will the outcomes be, or how do you project that they might go from here? Saturn and Neptune are both retrograde for almost half of the year. These influences are subtle, but especially because they're shifting signs and moving back into Pisces, I want to say that I feel that the next couple of months will bring you increased clarity and awareness about what it is that you are trying to do, what it is that you want to build, and the sense of foundation and belonging that you are trying to cultivate. Some of you need to have, again, different kinds of conversations and communications. There may be important information that needs to be shared by you or to you so that you can build this foundation that you're trying to build or make the move that you're trying to make. As Saturn and Neptune station retrograde, I also want to encourage you to relax any kind of, like if you've set your sights on, I don't know, let's say you're buying a new house, or you are really wanting to start a family, or you're trying to move and you're really attached to the idea of what it is that you're doing. As these two planets station retrograde, I just need to say, relax about it a little bit. There may be different timelines that need to play out. There may be different kinds of information that need to come in. If things aren't happening exactly the way that you want them to, at exactly the pace that you want them to, don't stress. Give yourself until next year. Now on July 4th, Venus will enter the sign Gemini. And then 3 days later on the 7th, the outer planet Uranus will also enter the sign Gemini. And Uranus, like Saturn and Neptune, has a long orbit. It's 84 years for Uranus to travel around the sun. That means that it spends somewhere around 7 years in each sign. This is the first entry Uranus will make into Gemini. It will station retrograde in September. It will move back into the late degrees of Taurus in November. And by next April, it will move back into Gemini to stay until 2033. This shift, to me, feels like a shift from a more creative, dreamy space of possibility into a space of action and implementation around some kinds of ideas that you have been working with, I think maybe for a little while, at least for the last month or so. Gemini season could have started to spark some ideas for you that they feel practical in nature, but they also feel a little bit impractical isn't the word, but here's the word, innovative. right? So they feel practical, but they also feel innovative. And I think that a lot of you are thinking about how to make changes in your day-to-day life. Now, this can definitely include in your job or your jobs and your responsibilities. It can also include your body and your health. Think about all of the ways that your functionality and your life need to be tended to and cared for. This is the domain that Uranus is moving towards right now. Now, what this tells me is a lot of things. It's going to be different for everybody, so take what works. So, number one, some of you are ready to innovate with technology a little bit differently. You may be ready to embrace AI, or maybe you're going analog and you're like innovating because you're like, now everything is by hand and this is not what the world is doing, but you're doing something differently. Uranus can often be a symbol of technology and innovation. And I will say that if any of you have been thinking about ways to innovate and improve using technology, this might be an exciting and interesting time to do it. I will also just say that, the surveillance state is a real thing, so be careful how you're using it. And this incredible new intelligence that is here might be here to stay for a long time. And so if you are a person who is interested in using AI, I hope that you learn about using it ethically and using it in ways that can help this intelligence grow a real sense of consideration and potentially compassion and wisdom in the ways that it helps us to navigate the realms of information. I'll keep it there for now. Another signification of Uranus moving into the 6th house and into the sign Gemini is that some of you are really feeling compelled to be of service in some new or different kind of ways. You may be activated right now for good reason by things that are happening in the world, and you want to take action. And the ways that you might be interested in taking action could have a lot to do with helping people connect with each other, get the resources that they need. Some of you are really strategic. You can see how things need to get mapped and planned in order to work in the ways that they are meant to work. Capricorns are awesome strategists and naturally long-term thinkers. And so some of you are really looking at the future of particular endeavors that you want to lend your energy to. And this is a really fabulous time for you to do that. And the last thing I'll say about this particular transit, it is definitely a time for you to shake things up and do things differently in general. This definitely includes your day-to-day. So if you have had the same workout routine for the last 5 billion years, or if you always take the same commute to work, or if you eat exactly the same thing for breakfast every day, give it a change. Try something new, try something different. Shake up your routine a little bit, and don't be afraid to branch out and try something different. Now, this transit doesn't really get going in its full force until next year, but we are definitely already feeling the effects of it on a collective level, and the outer planets often speak to us of collective happenings. And so some of you are just feeling destabilized right now by the incredible instability that is happening in the world. And Capricorns are not fans of being destabilized. I would say that Taurus is the least pleased about instability, and Capricorn maybe comes right after Taurus. So as things feel chaotic and unpredictable in the world, some of you may also feel that it is affecting you, of course, mentally, emotionally, relationally, in your own planning. And there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, the world is chaotic right now. And according to astro mapping, we're going to be in a state of chaos, at least for another 5 years minimum until 2030. I think that we may be in a state of immense transformation and a lot of unpredictability until 2040. My hope is that humanity comes into a space of coherence by 2028, and the unpredictability and instability of the next 12 years is abundant and joyful and really includes a lot of healing and repair. And that is my prayer. And I guess we'll see how it goes. So if you are feeling destabilized by what's happening in the world, if your job is being destabilized, if your money is getting destabilized, if your job is innovating with AI and it means that you're losing your job or something like that, right? Like these are also things that are happening right now. Well, the best thing that you can do about it, according to Renee's crappy astrology, interpretation, take what works, leave the rest. The best thing I think to do right now, Capricorn, is practice radical acceptance. It is what it is. And there are openings and opportunities regardless. So if something that you wanted isn't working out the way that you wanted, it's not for you right now. But that doesn't mean that nothing is for you. There are plenty of places where you can extend your energy, where you can find new opportunities, and where you can grow. And I will say that if you are wanting growth right now, if you are wanting new opportunities, if you are wanting to bring more abundance into your life, the best way to do that is with other people. And so the work that is being asked of you right now in Cancer season to up-level and improve your relationships, to work on your communication, to be straightforward, to be vulnerable, to deepen intimacy by actually having the conversations that need to be had or working it out about the things that are shared or not shared. That is the way that you are going to innovate your life right now. Other people are the key to doing the new thing the new way. And if you're hearing that and going, other people always get me into the same place, that's the old story. And that's the thing that needs to change in Cancer season and Leo season. Your life is asking you to transform your psychological orientation to relationships and consider how you can move into new places and new experiences with other people. And I would recommend not taking other people personally, having a good sense of humor, being willing to lower your guard and let go of your defenses and take feedback and work on yourself and grow. And also really loving yourself and knowing who the fuck you are and what it is that you are capable of and want, and staying true in a lot of ways to your heart. And that is the tension right now, being true to you and being open to other people and what they are asking of you and inviting of you when it comes to your growth. And I would say that this is true across the board with important partners, with family, with friends, with children if you have children, with parents if you have parents who are still in their bodies, with colleagues, with any kinds of collaborators, etc. Okay, Capricorn, so I am going to end it with a really brief offering to you of an embodiment practice. And in this practice, I want to invite you to bring some awareness to the balance between the energies of Cancer and Capricorn in the body. Now, Cancer and Capricorn are polarity energies. They are opposite signs, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing about them that's similar. They are actually reflections of one another. They each need each other to manifest fully. So through the lens of medical astrology, or let me say through the lens of an embodied astrology, we might think about Cancer as the interior experience, the inner body, and Capricorn as the structure and containment. So Capricorn governs the skeleton and the skin. And I want to invite you to take a moment wherever you are, whatever shape you're in, and just bring some awareness to your bones, to the way that you are holding the shape of your posture right now. Bring attention to the weight of your bones And if you are in any kind of vertical orientation, standing, sitting, walking, really try to connect with gravity as a support for your levity. And if you're lying down, if you're reclining, let the weight of your bones really surrender to the earth. And then as you bring attention into your structure, also bring attention into your skin and feel your boundaries and containment and perimeter. Skeleton and skin, Capricorn's domain, structure and containment. Feel the place where your body ends and the rest of the world begins. And then let your awareness encompass everything else that is inside your bodily experience. The inner body includes all of your fluids and your tissues, and we might even imagine that it can include the marrow in your bones, the part of your bones that is soft and fluid and alive. And let's just take a couple of breaths together. And as you breathe, see if you can feel your structure and stability and containment, as well as your softness, your sensitivity, your interiority. You might invite in an imagination or memory of an important relationship. And as this imagination or memory emerges in your consciousness, notice how you feel inside. How does your inner body respond? And as you notice how you feel inside, what happens in your structure, in your containment? Then you might recall a time when you pushed relationship away. Maybe you felt hurt or guarded or defensive. And as that memory or imagination comes in, what happens in your inner body? What happens in your structure, in your skin? Can you feel your softness and your structure at the same time? Can you feel your containment and your boundaries, as well as your sensitivity and receptivity at the same time? This is a practice, Capricorn, that I hope you bring with you and experiment with throughout Cancer season. The more that you can allow these dual experiences to be present in your consciousness at the same time, the more you will be able to really hold space in your relationships in ways that allow you to blend these dual needs of growth and expansion, of love and intimacy and trust and bonding, along with your autonomy, your sovereignty, and the very real sense that you know who you are and what you like and what you want. That is my hope for you, Capricorn, that these energies can merge in ways that feel truly empowering and also support and assist you to grow in your relationships, to receive the love and support that is available to you, and to really give of yourself in ways that help you to grow and know yourself even better. I hope that any or all of this reading and the practice that I offered are supportive to you in Cancer season and beyond. Capricorn, I am wishing you all the best, and bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in with me, y'all. If this message feels supportive for you, please help support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing this work with your friends and networks. Check the show notes for other ways to support the work at Embodied Astrology, including getting your 2025 year ahead readings, which are now 25% discounted, or coming to the Cancer Season workshop, which I'll be co-facilitating with the one and only Janata Petrus, or attend one of my weekly classes or the bi-monthly chart reading study groups with Alisha, or become a sustaining donor. There are so many ways to support this work and so many ways this work wants to support you. All that information and more in the show notes. I'm wishing you all the best in Cancer season and beyond.